If you're tired of always being the one who texts first, if you're done trying too hard just to get a little attention, if you've ever asked yourself, why do the wrong guys get all the girls? Then stop right here, because today I'm going to show you how to flip the script, where you don't chase her, she chases you. And it all starts with Stoicism, the ancient philosophy of emotional control, purpose, and inner power. Once you learn these 10 secrets, you'll never beg for a woman's time again. Let's begin. Secret 1. Calm is power. Most men lose women the moment they lose their cool. She takes too long to reply. You panic. She acts cold. You overthink. But a stoic man doesn't react, he observes. He breathes. He remains calm. Because calmness shows strength. And strength is attractive. If you can stay peaceful in the storm, she'll chase your peace. Secret 2. Purpose comes first. A woman is not your purpose. Your mission in life is, when you put her above your goals, your discipline, your growth, she feels it, and she pulls away. But when you're focused on becoming your best, she'll want to be part of that journey. A man on a mission doesn't chase women. Women chase him. Secret 3. Need nothing. Attract everything. The more you need her, the more she feels it. And when she feels that you need her to be happy, to feel worthy, to feel like a man, something inside her starts to pull away. It's not because she's cruel. It's because deep down, women aren't drawn to emptiness. They're drawn to fullness. You see, neediness says this: I'm not enough without you. And no woman wants to carry the weight of being someone's everything. But desire is different. Desire says, I like you, I enjoy your presence, but I don't need you to breathe. That difference is everything. When you need nothing, you move differently. You speak less. You listen more. You don't chase replies. You're not anxious when she's distant. You're not shaken when she's testing you. You walk like you already know your worth. Because you do. And here's the secret most men don't realize. When a woman senses you don't need her, she starts needing you. Why? Because you've flipped the energy. She wonders, why isn't he obsessed with me? Why isn't he trying harder? What's going on in his life that makes him so calm, so grounded, so complete? Now she's thinking about you. Now she's investing in you. Now she's chasing. That's how it works. The less you need her, the more she wants you. Because true power doesn't scream. It doesn't beg. It doesn't chase. It simply exists. And when a man exists in his own peace, in his own confidence, in his own self-respect, he becomes magnetic. Need nothing. Attract everything. Secret 4. Less words, more presence. Most men feel this silent pressure when they're around a woman they like. They think, I have to say something smart. I need to keep her interested. If I stop talking, she'll lose interest. So, they start talking too fast, explaining too much, telling stories that aren't even true just to sound interesting. They ask question after question without even listening to the answers. They fill every pause with nervous chatter. But here's the truth. Women don't fall for words. They fall for presence. And presence isn't noise. It's not about how much you say. It's about how grounded you feel while saying nothing. Think about this. You've probably seen a man walk into a room and say very little, but everyone notices him. People look, people respect. Why? Because he walks with calm. Because he doesn't need to prove anything. That's real power. And it's rare. Now apply that to how you speak with her. When you're with a woman, you don't need to entertain her. You don't need to talk like a radio host. You don't need to impress her with how much you know. What you need is to be fully there, calm, steady, focused, not on what you'll say next, but on being present in the moment. Because when your eyes are steady, when your tone is low and controlled, when your shoulders are relaxed, when your breathing is slow, she feels something different. She feels safe. She feels calm. She feels your masculine stillness. And in that stillness, you become unforgettable. You don't need a smooth pickup line. You don't need to dominate the conversation. You don't even need to try. Because real presence makes her lean in without you pulling. Let her wonder what you're thinking. Let the silence do some of the work. Let the space between words be filled with calm confidence. Most men are so busy talking, they never give her a chance to feel anything. But when you speak less, when you allow quiet moments to exist without panic, those moments become powerful. She starts to feel a connection, not to your words, but to your energy. And energy never lies. So the next time you sit across from her, slow down, breathe, pause before you speak. Let every word carry weight, because a man who knows he's enough doesn't need to be loud to be felt. And in a world of men shouting to be noticed, the one who speaks calmly, slowly, confidently, is the one she remembers. Secret 5. Let her wonder. Most men, they make the same mistake. They meet a woman who excites them, and they think the best way to win her over is to open up everything all at once. They start pouring out their past, talking about every ex, every mistake, every dream, every trauma, not because they're being real, but because they think oversharing equals connection. But here's the truth most men never learn. Connection doesn't grow in exposure. It grows in mystery, in timing, in what's left unsaid. When you reveal everything on the first few dates, you remove the tension, you erase the curiosity, you kill the pull, because now she knows your whole story, and there's nothing left for her to discover. You've taken away the journey. You've skipped the part where she gets to earn your truth. You've made yourself too available, too fast. But when you hold back just a little, when you let her ask, when you let her wonder, when you leave space for mystery, something powerful happens. She leans in. She starts to think about you when you're not around. She replays the things you said, and more importantly, the things you didn't. Because now she's curious. Now she wants more. Now she's chasing the parts of you she doesn't yet understand. And that chase, that's where attraction truly begins. See, it's not about being fake. It's not about playing games. It's about respecting your story enough to share it slowly. Let her earn your past. Let her prove she's safe enough to receive your depth. Don't give your soul to someone who hasn't even shown they deserve it. Because the truth is, a woman values more what she uncovers than what she's handed easily. So give her glimpses. Let her feel something in your silence. Let her wonder what's behind your steady eyes. And every now and then, drop a piece of your truth. A small story, a quiet moment, a scar that you've healed from. Let it be real. Let it be earned. And when she realizes you're not trying to impress her, when she sees that you reveal yourself only with time, trust, and purpose, you become unforgettable. Because most men are like open books, cheap, fast, easy to read. But a stoic man, he's a story worth turning pages for. Slowly, carefully, eagerly. And once she's hooked on your mystery, once she feels the pull of your silence, she won't stop chasing the meaning behind it. Because she's not just drawn to you, she's intrigued by you. And is what keeps her coming back. Secret 6. Master your emotions. Most men think women leave because of something they said, or because they didn't make enough money, or because someone better came along. But more often than not, it wasn't any of that. They lost her because she no longer felt emotionally safe around them. Not because he raised his voice, not because he cried, but because he lacked control. He let his emotions drive the car. And once she felt that instability, everything else started to shake. It usually starts small. She replies a little later than usual. And instead of breathing, staying calm, and going about his day, he spirals. He checks his phone constantly, stares at the screen waiting for those 3 dots, types a message, deletes it, types again, deletes again, heart racing over nothing. She seems a bit off, maybe tired or distracted, and he takes it personally. Starts asking, "Are you mad at me? Did I say something wrong? Are you losing interest?" She backs off slightly, gives him a little space sometimes without even realizing it, and instead of giving her that space, he panics, texts more, calls more, tries to fix something that isn't even broken. This isn't strength. This isn't leadership. This isn't love. It's emotional chaos. And here's what most men don't realize. Women feel emotional chaos long before you speak it. Because your emotions don't hide. They show up in your voice, in your timing, in your posture, in your energy, in your silence. Every little thing you do says something about your emotional state. But a Stoic man, he doesn't live in reaction. He feels everything deeply, but he filters it through discipline. He doesn't react to silence with fear. He doesn't fill space with panic. He doesn't chase when the energy changes. He pauses. He breathes. He observes. Then he acts from a place of calm, not emotion. That's not coldness. That's control. And that's what creates safety. You see, you can't lead her emotionally if you're being led by your own panic. You can't make her feel secure if your own heart is trembling at every shift. And here's what so many men fail to understand. Women test you, not because they're cruel, not because they're playing games, but because they need to know, can this man hold his ground? Can I trust him with my emotions if he can't even handle his own? Sometimes she'll say something sharp, just to feel your reaction. Do you defend? Do you attack? Do you fold? Sometimes she'll pull away, just to see if you chase. Do you smother her? Do you collapse into insecurity? Sometimes she'll go silent, not because she's done, but because she wants to feel your stillness. She wants to feel that even when she disappears for a moment, you remain grounded, unshaken, confident in yourself. Because if you fall apart from one moment of discomfort, what happens when life actually gets hard? What happens when the relationship faces real pressure? If she senses that you're not emotionally stable, if you lose control even once, in small, subtle ways, you send a message. I can't lead myself. I can't lead you. I need you to be okay so that I can feel okay. And that's when she begins to pull away. Not because she doesn't care, but because the foundation isn't safe anymore. But if you remain calm, if you stay grounded, if you don't flinch when things shift, you instantly separate yourself from 99% of men, because calm is rare. Emotional discipline is rare, and the man who has it is unforgettable. He doesn't yell to be heard. He doesn't chase to be loved. He doesn't explain to be validated. He just leads, silently, firmly, with peace. And when she feels that kind of energy, when she realizes you don't lose yourself trying to hold on to her, she relaxes. She lets go. she starts trusting more. Because you're not reacting to her, you're leading her. Through calm, through presence, through stillness. So, master your emotions. Not by pretending you don't feel, but by learning how to carry what you feel with strength. Hold your ground when it's shaky. Choose patience when it's tense. Respond with quiet power when your emotions want to take the wheel. Because that kind of emotional mastery doesn't just impress her, it makes her feel safe. And once a woman feels truly safe with a man, she won't run. She won't test. She won't pull back. She'll chase your peace, your steadiness, your rare, powerful calm. Not because you forced it, not because you begged, but because in a world full of men who break at the first sign of tension, you became the one man who stood still. Secret 7. Have standards. Most men today are starving for validation. Not love, not respect. Validation. They don't even know they're doing it. But every interaction, every glance, every compliment, they're hoping it means something. A woman smiles at them. They melt. She replies with a heart emoji. They lose focus. She shows a little interest. They drop everything. It doesn't matter who she is, what she believes, how she behaves. All that matters is she noticed me. And that's the core problem. Most men aren't choosing. They're just waiting to be chosen. They're not looking for alignment. They're looking for attention. So they lower their standards. They flirt with anyone who gives them a moment. They compliment every woman like it's a habit. They agree to things that go against their values, just to avoid being alone. They confuse attention for affection, and affection for love. But a stoic man, he's built differently. He's not impressed by beauty alone. He doesn't get distracted by curves, filters, or charm, because he knows what most men forget. Beauty is common. But character, peace, integrity, that's rare. He looks deeper. He listens closer. He watches how she treats people who can do nothing for her. He notices how she speaks when no one's around. He pays attention to whether her presence adds peace to his life or confusion, because he's not chasing a thrill. He's not looking for a temporary high. He's looking for alignment, for depth, for a woman who matches his mission, not disrupts it. And because of that, his attention is rare. It's not handed out like candy. It's earned. It means something. It has value. Because he has value, he's worked too hard on himself, too long in silence, too deep in discipline to give that energy away for free. And when a woman sees that, when she realizes she can't just win him with looks or flirtation, she starts to feel something different. Curiosity, respect, and a quiet desire to prove herself worthy of that attention. Now she's asking, why isn't he chasing me like all the others? Why does he seem so focused, so calm, so uninterested in drama? Who is this man? And what kind of woman actually captures his focus? That's when the game flips. Because now she's chasing, not for fun, but to see if she qualifies. Because in a world full of men who fall for every pretty face, the man with standards becomes a challenge. He's not mean. He's not cold. He's not arrogant. He's simply aware of his value. And that awareness? It speaks louder than any compliment ever could. Your standards are a message. They tell the world what you expect, and more importantly, what you refuse to tolerate. If you chase every woman, you're telling them you're just happy to be noticed. But when you wait, when you stay grounded, when you look beyond the surface, you're telling her, I don't need company, I need alignment. I'm not just looking to feel wanted, I'm looking for someone I can build with. And suddenly, she's not thinking about how to be loved. She's wondering how to be chosen. Because the man with standards is rare. He's not just liked. He's respected. He's remembered. And, yes, he's chased. Not because he tried harder, but because he knew his worth and refused to settle for anything less than what truly matched it. So don't drop your values just to feel seen. Don't trade your peace for attraction. And never lose yourself just to keep her interest. Because when you become the man who knows exactly what he wants, you become the man every woman wants to be chosen by. Secret 8. Don't rush connection. Most men don't lose a woman because they didn't try hard enough. They lose her because they tried too hard, too fast. Not because they weren't interested, but because their interest turned into pressure. They meet a woman who sparks something inside them, a feeling they haven't had in a long time, maybe ever. And instead of holding that moment gently, they squeeze it. They want to make sure they don't lose it. So they move quickly. Too quickly. They text her constantly, call her every night, ask deep questions before she's even ready to go deep. They plan the future before they've even built a present. They don't mean to overwhelm her, but their fear of losing her turns into a need to own her. And that's where it all starts to unravel. Because deep down, they're not chasing connection, they're chasing certainty. They're chasing control. They're trying to lock down something they don't trust will stay. And women can feel it. That pressure, that push, that silent message that says, "Please don't leave me." And here's the thing, pressure kills peace. And peace is what connection needs to grow. Love doesn't grow in urgency. It grows in stillness, in patience, in presence. A Stoic man understands this. He doesn't need to rush. He doesn't need to define it on day 3. He doesn't panic when she pulls back slightly. He doesn't treat every silence like a crisis. He lets it breathe. He gives it space. Because he knows that real connection is built slowly. Not all at once. Not in a single conversation. Not through endless texting. But over time, through consistent presence, through shared experiences, through quiet trust that doesn't need to be proven every second. He's not trying to fill the silence with noise. He's not trying to escape the unknown. He sits in it comfortably because he trusts the process. He trusts himself. And most importantly, he trusts time. She feels the difference. She feels that he's not pulling on her energy. He's not chasing her attention. He's not making her responsible for his emotional security. She doesn't feel rushed. She feels seen. She feels respected. And in a world where most men want instant intimacy without building emotional safety, she notices the man who moves slow, the man who listens more than he speaks, the man who's okay with mystery, the man who doesn't panic when it's quiet. Because that kind of patience, that kind of emotional steadiness, it makes her feel safe to be herself, safe to open up, safe to be real, safe to stay. Most men confuse excitement for depth. They think because the first date felt amazing, it must be something big. But real connection takes more than spark. It takes rhythm, consistency, pace. If you rush the connection, you build it on shallow roots. And anything built too fast can fall just as fast. But when you let it grow on its own time, when you stop forcing her to feel something before she's ready, when you remove the pressure and replace it with peace, everything changes. She stops wondering if you're like the rest and starts trusting that she's found something real. So don't skip chapters. Don't rush to the ending. Let the story write itself. Let her come closer when she's ready, not when you're impatient. Because the man who can wait, the man who can hold space, the man who lets love arrive slowly, steadily, truthfully, that's the man she connects with on a level no one else could reach. Not because he chased harder, but because he trusted deeper. And in that depth, she finds everything she was afraid to ask for. Not pressure, not panic, but peace. And peace is what keeps her coming back. Secret 9. Lead, don't follow. Most men have been conditioned to believe that the secret to keeping a woman is to keep her happy at all costs. They think that by being agreeable, by never pushing back, by always putting her needs first, they're being the ideal man. So they nod their head to everything, say yes to plans they don't want, smile when they feel disrespected, and shrink their opinions just to avoid conflict. They think that saying, "Whatever you want," or "It doesn't matter to me," or "I just want you to be happy," makes them lovable. But what it really says is, "I don't know what I want." And worse, "I'm afraid to take the lead." And for a woman, even if she doesn't say it out loud, that becomes exhausting, because now she has to decide everything. Where to eat, when to meet, what the plan is, how the relationship moves forward, and eventually what started as sweet becomes a burden, because she doesn't want a follower. She wants a man with direction, with vision, with conviction, someone who says, "Here's where I'm going. You're welcome to walk beside me." That's leadership, not control, not manipulation, not domination. Just clear, calm leadership. Leadership isn't about barking orders. It's about offering direction with grounded energy. A man who leads doesn't overpower. He invites, and that invitation, when it's real, is magnetic. From the smallest everyday decisions, choosing the restaurant, deciding the time to meet, offering a real plan instead of saying "id," to the bigger, deeper things, your lifestyle, your spiritual path, your career vision, your discipline, your values. She is watching, not to criticize you, but to feel you, to feel whether you're a man who knows where he's going, or a man waiting for someone else to lead the way. Because here's the hard truth. Indecision is weakness, and weakness, no matter how polite, kills attraction. It doesn't matter how good-looking you are, how successful you are. If you hesitate in your core, she'll feel it. And if you keep handing her the wheel when it's your turn to drive, she will start losing trust. Then respect, then desire. And when respect goes, the connection follows. But the man who leads himself, who knows his values, his direction, his mission, the man who doesn't shy away from being decisive, even if it's not always the perfect decision, that man earns her trust without trying. Because she doesn't want a man who always agrees. She wants a man who stands for something, stands for himself. She wants to feel like she can relax beside you, knowing you're not waiting for her to make every move. Because a woman doesn't want to carry the weight of the relationship on her shoulders. She wants a man who shares the load, who offers direction, who leads the dance. And leadership doesn't mean you dominate her. It means you hold the frame, with calm, with presence, with confidence, with humility. You don't need to have all the answers, but you do need to act like a man who is not afraid to decide. Even when she disagrees, she'll respect that you stepped forward. Even when it's imperfect, she'll appreciate that you took the lead. Because in a world full of men who drift, who delay, who disappear under pressure, the man who moves with direction always stands out. So stop apologizing for being decisive. Stop avoiding your own voice. Lead. In the small things, in the big things, in the unseen things. Lead with clarity. Lead with patience. Lead with love, but lead. Because the man who leads his own life will never have to beg someone to walk with him. She will follow not because she has to, but because she wants to. Because you give her something no follower ever could: the safety of your strength, the pull of your purpose, the calm of your leadership. Lead, and she'll come closer, not out of pressure, but out of pure respect. Secret 10. Live like you're already whole. Most men live with this quiet ache inside, a belief they barely speak out loud, that they are incomplete. They walk through life searching for someone to fill the void, someone to fix what feels broken, someone to finally make them feel enough. So when they meet a woman, they don't see her as a partner. They see her as a savior. They hand her the weight of their worth, their confidence, their identity, their peace. And without realizing it, they make her the center of a life that isn't even built yet. But here's the truth most men never hear. You were never meant to be half. You were never meant to be rescued. And love was never supposed to be your medicine. You are already enough. Before the text comes, before the kiss happens, before the relationship begins, you are already worthy. Whether you're seen or overlooked, whether she chooses you or walks away. Because your value is not in how loved you are, but in how grounded you've become. A Stoic man understands this. He's not waiting for someone to give him a life. He's already building it. He's building his peace, building his discipline, building his purpose, brick by brick, in silence, with strength. And when a woman meets him, she feels it. She feels the weight in his voice, the calm in his presence, the stillness in his eyes, because he's not reaching for her. He's rooted in himself. He's not begging to be accepted. He's simply inviting her into a world he's already proud of. That's the energy that draws her in, because it's rare to meet a man who doesn't need you, but still chooses you. It's rare to meet a man who could walk alone, but would rather walk with someone who aligns with his purpose. And that's what makes you magnetic. Not your looks, not your charm, not how many messages you send or compliments you give, but your wholeness, your ability to stand tall with or without applause, your willingness to love from overflow, not from emptiness. Women aren't drawn to men who are desperate for connection. They're drawn to men who are connected to themselves. So stop waiting for someone to complete you. Stop delaying your purpose until the right one arrives. Start walking now. Start growing now. Start leading your own story, with or without a co-star, because when you live like you're already whole, you don't chase love, you attract it. And when the right woman enters your life, you won't need to prove anything. You won't need to cling. You won't need to impress. She'll feel the difference. She'll feel the depth in your silence. She'll feel the fire in your calm. She'll feel the pull of a man who doesn't need her to survive, but whose life is so strong, so steady, so peaceful, that she wants to be a part of it. Not because you begged, not because you tried harder than everyone else, but because you became the kind of man who doesn't chase love. He becomes the place where love feels safe to land. Live like you're already whole, because when you do, you won't just find love. Love will come looking for you. You've been told lies for most of your life, that you have to impress her, that you have to prove yourself, that you have to perform, chase, and compete just to earn a little attention. You've been taught to become what she wants, instead of becoming who you are meant to be. You've been told that love is something you get by doing more, texting more, giving more, saying more. But what if none of that is true? What if the key isn't in doing more, but in being more grounded, more disciplined, more steady, more still? What if attraction isn't about words or tricks, but about presence? Because the truth is, you don't need games. You don't need strategies. You don't need to become some fake version of yourself just to win her over. What you really need is stoic strength, the kind of strength that's calm under pressure, the kind that stays quiet, not out of fear, but out of power. You need the kind of focus that doesn't get distracted when she pulls away, the kind of purpose that doesn't stop when she's silent, the kind of confidence that doesn't need validation to keep moving forward. Because the man who leads himself, who controls his thoughts, his emotions, his time, his energy, that man is rare. And women, real women, are drawn to what's rare. When you become that kind of man, you stop chasing and you start attracting, not with effort but with energy, not with words but with silence, not by trying to pull her in, but by building a life so solid, she wants to walk right into it. And here's the shift that changes everything. When you live like you're enough, when you're not waiting for her to choose you, when your peace doesn't depend on her presence, she feels it. She feels the difference. Because most men are grasping, begging, proving, but you're just being, and that being is powerful. You don't rush. You don't beg. You don't shrink. You grow. You lead. You rise. And that kind of quiet leadership, that kind of internal command, it creates a gravitational pull. You won't have to ask her to stay. You won't have to compete for her attention, because she'll already feel it. And she'll come closer, not out of pressure, not out of guilt, but out of pure, magnetic pull. So step into your power. Stop trying to win her and start winning yourself. Because when you become the kind of man who needs no chase, she'll become the kind of woman who never stops chasing you. Not because you convinced her, but because your presence spoke louder than any words ever could. This is not about tricks. This is not about games. This is about becoming who you were meant to be. A man of peace. A man of depth. A man of purpose. When you become that man, you won't need to chase her. She'll chase you, relentlessly, willingly, and with respect you never had to ask for.